Hey there, do you want to discover ways you can make money? Are you tired of working for someone and you want to be your own boss? Well, this live stream will answer all your questions. So make sure you sit back, relax, and we'll be back right after this, okay? Welcome, everyone, to yet another intriguing, innovative series called Entrepreneur Series. I'm your host, Connie. Welcome. If this is your first time, we are actually live on YouTube right now, so make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And you can click the notification button so you can get notified each time we go live. And if you're watching on Facebook, what are you still waiting for? Make sure you click that like button, share, and Facebook have this cool feature that will allow you to create a watch party so your friends can join in the fun that we're about to have here. Okay, guys. Before we start anything, you know how it goes. We have to commit this live stream to God Almighty because He is the maker and finisher of all of our lives. So the Bible verse of today is from James 1:2 to 3, and it reads as follows: Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steady fast. Yes, my people, whatever that you're going through in life right now, don't let it weigh you down because it's just a preparation for your manifestation that is about to come. So be prepared, be happy, okay? Because the Lord is on your side. So what this entrepreneur series is all about is a safe. It should be a safe place for us to discover different ways to make money. For example, starting a new business that can yield a profitable revenue for for everyone. And if you should think this as a fresh start to a brighter future for you and your family. And what should you expect in this live stream? This live stream should be streaming weekly every Saturday at 2:30 p.m. So make sure you tune in, invite your friends to join in because we're about to have a good time today, okay? And just in case if you can watch the live stream, don't worry. I will convert this into a podcast and I'll release it tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. So you can get caught up, whatever that you miss, and you can even listen to it while driving to work. You know what I'm saying? So guys, expect guests that are expertise on their individual field coming to this show to share some of their wisdom and knowledge and in turn educate us on how to start a business or even begin any business. Okay, so remember to ask questions anytime during this live stream. Don't be afraid to ask your questions, and we're not ignoring your questions. We're going to address it towards the end, so we're going to set time aside to address all questions that you might have, because I want this live stream to be very interactive so we can both conversate, because I believe communication is the gateway to gaining knowledge. So, guys, without wasting any time, let's dive right into the topic of today. As you can see in the screen, is finding joy in your niche. Our guest today, she was born in the urban seaside town of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yes, she is the owner of Celestial Publishing Company, a certified social worker, freelance writer, and soon to be an author. Yes, she plans to release her book this year, September 1st, and her book is titled Crying, Learning, and Laughing Why Students Visit the Teen Center. She do have a soft spot for children and teens, which propels her to help over 200 children and adolescents during her career as an adjunct English instructor and case manager. Her education background is in literature and social work. Her writing has appeared in over 50 online publications through ghostwriting. I'm talking about Tamika Murray. Hi, Tamika. How are you doing today? Oh, we can't hear you. Can you unmute? There you go.
Sorry, I must have clicked it twice.
No, you're good. How
I'm
are you
do
doing
I'm
today?
doing I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here. So I hope you came with a lot of energy because we're gonna have a good time today. Because
I
I
did.
did.
I
Okay,
did.
that's good. That's good. But before we dive into the topic of today, I want to ask how you feeling? Like how you adjusting with the COVID-19, the pandemic? How is your family? How is your health? How are you doing in general?
My health, thankfully, my health is really good, and I have not had the misfortune of having any family members contract COVID.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
goodness. Yeah, we've all been safe. But my heart does go out to the people who have lost loved ones, or are struggling with it themselves. It really is it's a sad time in our history right now. It is.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of people have lost their job. A lot of people have lost family
Hmm.
members, and some people haven't even seen any of their family members for months now because they are stuck
I
in one
know.
place. You know,
I
I,
know. Yeah,
I
it's
pray.
terrible. It really is.
Yes, our prayer
But,
goes for everyone.
I've kept everybody in my prayers, and I just hope that, as the year progresses, that they can come up with some type of treatment for this,
Yes, yes.
to help the people that are contracting it, because it really is no joke. It
It's
isn't.
not. It's not. People are dropping like flies. Like that thing can kill
Yeah.
like this. And some people don't even have any side effects and they just have this one side effect and that will be it.
Hmm. Exactly. A lot of asymptomatic people. I actually do know of one person. They don't live in my state of New Jersey, but they live in, I believe, South Carolina,
Yes.
and their work profession is nursing. And she came down with it and had no symptoms whatsoever. And the only reason that she found out that she had it is because she had treated a patient with it. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone who came into contact, with that patient had to be tested. And that's how she found out. Otherwise, she was perfectly normal, no side effects or anything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, our prayers goes
I
out
know.
for our prayers goes out for all the anybody that been affected to this, and even if it's your family members, our prayer goes out to
Hmm.
all of you guys. And
Yeah.
Tamika, we do have a lot to talk about today. So I just want us to just dive right into it, okay? Are you ready for this
Okay.
topic?
Sounds good. It's one of my favorite topics.
That's good. Okay, so today's topic is finding joy in your niche. A lot of people have struggled with finding that
Yes.
meaningful career that makes them light up every time someone asks them, "What do you do for a living?" I mean, you have met a lot of people,
Hmm.
even you. I believe you experience this when people ask you, "What do you do for a living?" That excitement, that your face just lit up. You just talking about what you do because that's what you feel
Hmm.
like is that's what you are called to do. So basically people basically that business venture that won't only bring food to the table but also make you feel
Hmm.
joy in your heart. That's like everyone's desire. So you have such a remarkable story, especially when it comes to you helping children and teens. I can't help but to ask,
Hmm.
where does your love for children and teens stems from? Is it about what you saw growing up?
You know, I had a relatively, I don't like to use the word normal, but I had a pretty stable, childhood.
Yes.
I grew up with a single mother, in Atlantic City. And we also lived with my maternal grandparents who, helped raise me as well. So I was surrounded by family, which was very important. And I will say that I had an aunt who has since passed on. She was a foster mother and she lived in the Bronx. And
Oh.
I got to have a lot of contact with children that were in the foster system starting from a very early age. That's what she did. She gave her whole life to helping children that were in the system. She would take them in, she'd make sure that they, went to Catholic school and had everything that they didn't have in their regular homes. And she actually ended up adopting two children
Wow.
during her time as a foster mom. Yeah, so that I can honestly say my aunt, seeing that definitely had an impact on me growing
Oh.
up.
That's good. Because I kind of imagine, I mean, have a lot of people growing up too. You see how,
Hmm.
like, coming from Nigeria or any African countries, sometimes even in the movies, they show these people will get
Hmm.
pregnant or it was
Hmm.
unplanned and they will have these children and they will drop them off by the gutters or by the street
Yeah.
because they can't raise that child. They don't have the money to raise that child. So I can see
Hmm.
that kind of experience impacting people to just want to help children, especially children in the foster care or in the orphanage home. So thank you for doing
Yes.
that because they need that.
They definitely do. And I'm sure my aunt impacted a lot of children's lives, during her
Yeah.
time on this earth. So,
Yeah. Thank God for your aunt and people like you guys because you guys are doing a marvelous job in children's and teens' life. Um, so you have helped like over 200 children and adolescents during your
yeah.
career as an adjunct English instructor and case manager. That's
Hmm.
impressive. Like, how does that make you feel knowing the fact that you have impacted over 200 children and teens?
And you know what? Honestly, that number's probably a little bit low because
Okay.
I was doing the numbers in my head,
Hmm.
after, I did the book cover, and I'm like, you know what? Honestly, it was more than that because, at my time at the teen center, we had, in social work, a lot of times it's a numbers game. You have to make sure that you're seeing as many children as possible. So, during the school year, I could see and have contact with well over 100 kids, in one school year. But it makes me feel fantastic that I was able to, just help brighten somebody's day, even if it was just for an hour, giving them my attention and letting them talk and vent. Because a lot of children and adolescents, they feel very unheard, whether
Yes.
it's at home or if they're in society, whatever the case may be. Sometimes they just need somebody to talk to.
That's true. And I think sometimes, like you said, you mentioned that a lot of them they feel unheard, and I think that's why
Hmm.
sometimes we view them as being misbehaving or very rebellious because they
Hmm.
just want to be
Yeah.
heard. You know, they want their voice to be heard. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know about your experience, but I know working with teenagers can sometimes be very difficult. So because I know teens, like I said before, they have different mood swings and they deal with a lot. Sometimes they don't know how to express it or vocalize it. So, what was one of the most
Hmm.
difficult situation at the teen center for you?
Oh, goodness. I can honestly say that we had a lot of children or adolescents that were struggling with depression. Depression is, goodness, it impacts pretty much every facet of your life. If you're depressed, you don't want to get out of bed. Hygiene can become an issue. Your sleep pattern is disrupted. And for somebody who's in school, that makes it very difficult for them to just function in class, and just be able to pay attention and do the work, or, not necessarily have a short fuse, if somebody is, bullying them or just being annoying, they could snap. So there was a variety at the teen center. I can't really think of one kid in particular where I was like, wow, that kid just, but um, I'm just thinking in terms, I always think on an individual case. And, for me, it was most difficult dealing with the kids who were dealing with issues at home that I couldn't necessarily help them with.
That's true.
That was the hardest thing for me because, you know, when you're working in the school, you see, they bring everything from home with them. They do. And, of course, not all of the kids were struggling with issues at home, but a great deal of them were. And so that was the biggest issue. What could you do for them, or how could you help them when, they have to leave here at the end of the day and go home to a situation that might not be ideal. Parents might be struggling financially. They might have substance abuse issues or relationship problems like domestic violence. um, so yeah, just trying to figure out what you can do, helping them to name their goals or even find some goals, and then developing a plan to achieve those. That was, the biggest struggle sometimes.
Wow. You are so nice. The way I like the way you kind of face the situation in a positive way, instead of
Hmm.
actually picking on them or saying they did this, they did that. You took the time to understand them, to
Yeah.
empathize with them, because I feel like that's how you can get through some people. You can get through to teenagers, because like I said, they're
Hmm.
struggling with a that they are internalizing and they don't know how to vocalize it. So getting closer to them,
Yeah.
understanding what they're feeling can actually help them out as to stop the whatever their misbehavior. You get what I mean? So I like the way you are approaching it.
Thank you. I tried, and trust me, I had my days at the teen center where even I would just kind of like lose it, and that was when, I had to step back and go take a time out. My favorite thing, if it was nice outside, would be to go outside for a few minutes, and just catch my breath, and just get away from everything that I was a lot of times internalizing. I'm a very empathetic person. So hearing somebody in distress or seeing something that's upsetting, I try not to absorb it, but over time, you know, it just happens. It really does. We're all human, and seeing somebody or seeing suffering is very upsetting. And that's something that social workers go through every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned social worker, because that's probably one of the things that helped you out, because you were once a
Hmm.
social worker, and in recent time you are no longer a social worker. So I want to know why. Is it that being a social worker was such a challenge profession for you, or you feel like you're no longer deriving any joy from it?
Well, when it came to social work, I was very apprehensive to begin with, to go back to school and take that on because I had heard from so many people and done my own research, of what the field entailed, what things that I was going to see. And, you really are dealing with people at a time of crises, so it's definitely not a field to enter into lightly. And I had the best intentions when I went into that field. I absolutely did. Because a lot of my previous jobs, like when I was an adjunct English instructor, I had a lot of my students coming to me after class and just telling me all the things that they were dealing with, that was making it difficult for them to handle their classwork, and that was one of the biggest, compelling things that made me decide to go back to school. It was like a sign, like you need to be doing this. And then when I got into it, you it becomes real. And you start to you deal with a lot of things, and it's often a combination. Social work is often a combination of dealing with your clients, but also dealing with the politics behind it too, and the
Yeah.
policies and the agencies. And especially when I was working for the state of New Jersey, I worked for the Division of Children, Child Protection and Permanency, DCP&P. And to work in child protective services, that's probably, I would say from personal experience, it's the toughest sector of social work that you can go into. It really is. Um,
Yeah.
so while I loved social work, it did start taking a toll on me health wise. I actually, when I was working at DCP&P, I ended up going out on stress leave for a bit, right before I made the decision to leave. The job just started eating away at me, and I started losing weight. I started having issues with my thyroid disorder because I've had a diagnosis of hypothyroidism, which is an underactive thyroid. I've had that diagnosis since I was 19, but
Wow.
all that stress that I was under really aggravated it to the point where my body really wasn't functioning the way that it should have been. So I had to make that decision, unfortunately, to leave DCP&P. And I took some time off away from that. And when I finally ended up at the teen center, I really had found my niche. I loved being at the teen center and
Yeah.
helping those kids, because we weren't just dealing with kids in crises. We wanted the teen center to be open to everybody at the school. And, we planned events, we took them on trips, we went on college tours. Heck, we even had a huge screen TV so they could play video games, watch Netflix, you name it. These kids had they had it made. Yeah, they did. I really wish that they had a teen center when I was in high school, because I would have
I
been
know
there all the time.
too. Yeah.
Right? But, after a while, one of the biggest factors that impacted me to look elsewhere was the loss of my mother. I lost my mother after she fought cancer for about off and on for about 13 years. She had fought breast cancer and had gone into remission. And then it came back about 9, 10 years later, and it went away again. And then it started coming back for a third time. And shortly after that third diagnosis is when she unexpectedly passed away, Thanksgiving weekend of 2016. So yeah, that was devastating. That, and anybody who knew me at that time knew, yeah, it was a huge devastation because number one, I was an only child. I was very close with my mother, and I had helped her, since she had had the initial diagnosis, and my family was very, very good with helping us as much as they possibly could. And, that kind of loss just really puts things into perspective. And after about almost 2 years at the teen center, I realized that, there weren't too many opportunities for growth there because it was a small staff. It really was. It was our program director. It was our mental health clinician, a part-time case manager, me, I was the full-time case manager, and interns that we would get from Stockton University, one of the local colleges here that I went to, actually. And, I made up my mind towards the end of the second year that I really needed to be doing something that was fulfilling me on another level. And as much as I love helping people, it was also very draining for me. So I wanted to, kind of segue into something where I could not only help people and impact them, but also light up when I do it too, and not feel so drained like a battery, at the end of the day. And writing was something that I started doing when I was a child, thanks to my mother. She gave me my first journal when I was about 7 years old, and I kept one through elementary school, high school, college. So I have a written record, of growing up, which is great. And I even, had a few things published, along the way. And I was like, it's time to pursue, something that I really wanted to do, but kind of was scared to, because growing up, there weren't as many opportunities online like there are now. Like self-publishing was something that I never even heard of until I became an adult. It really wasn't talked about too much, like in the 90s when I was a teenager and thinking about college and stuff. So to have all these opportunities now to be able to work from home is a blessing. It really is.
Yes, I mean, I work from home and I love it. Like,
Hmm.
that's the best,
Me
especially
too.
with this COVID-19 is the perfect job for you right now, working from the
It
comfort of your
is.
own. So I'm so happy for
Yes.
you that you were able to discover, your niche, that
Hmm.
career that makes you happy. And you're now a full-time writer. And on top of that, you do have your own publishing company, called Celestial
Yes.
Publishing Company. So why did you chose
Yeah.
to create a self-publishing company instead of a traditional publishing company?
That's a good question. Well, I weighed my options. For years, I had always wanted to be an author, but it just seemed like something that was kind of like, it was something that I thought of, but it never seemed like something I could accomplish. But then, you know, I would say within the past 5 to 10 years, I started hearing more about being able to self-publish your own books. In fact, I have an aunt who she self-published her memoir. I would say it's been about 15 years now, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less since she did hers. But it wasn't, self-publishing wasn't at the level that it is now, because when she did it, it wasn't like print on demand like you can do now with, Kindle Direct Publishing. It was more of you put up the money, get a certain amount of books published, and then you try to sell them. And it's not like that anymore. So since that transition from, doing buying your books in bulk and selling them to having them print on demand, I thought, well, you know what? With so many people publishing their own books, I mean, why not me?
Yeah,
Honestly,
why not?
why not cut out the middleman? Why not, remove all the steps that it takes to really query agents and, go through all that hard work to submit your manuscript that may not even get accepted, honestly. The publishing world it can be very difficult to navigate, and it's a very tedious process. And I'm not saying that people aren't getting fantastic, contracts. Even now they still are. But, if you want to put your product out faster, self-publishing is definitely the way to go. And you have more control, and you have more say in how the book goes, how the cover
Yes.
looks, and all of that. And I wanted all of that control. I really did.
Yes, I do. I hear you when you say you wanted to have your own. I can understand why you wanted to have your own publishing company, because when you have your own,
Hmm.
you maintain your authenticity. You maintain who you are. You
Hmm.
don't have to do things because with the logistic, with the business thing, when it comes to anything, it's not just writing a book or anything. There's a lot of things that
Hmm.
goes in it, and some people will tell you this is what people will like, this is how it should be, and then you ended up
Hmm.
compromising yourself. So when you do it your own way,
Yes.
doing it your having control, you tend to maintain your identity, tend to maintain what is it that you're trying to pass on to people, to your readers. So I'm glad you choose that path. Yeah, and I'm sure it wasn't easy, was it?
You know what? When I finally committed to it, it was, but no, initially it was not. Not at
Uh-huh.
all.
Yeah.
Very intimidating, very scary, but sometimes taking a risk is worth it.
Yes,
Definitely.
it is. Yeah, because I believe there's no shortcut to success. All of them
No,
takes a process to get there. So I want to know
hmm
what steps did you take to write your book? Because you have a book coming up. What steps did you take to
I
write it?
do. Okay, well, for this particular book, excuse me, the idea came to me when I was actually thinking of planning a blog series. I was going to
Yes.
publish it, online, just in a way to not only gain more, followers, but also to put the word out about the Teen Center. It was actually going to be a blog series about the Teen Center. And I started outlining it, and I wrote and finished 4 entries. And I realized that when I got to that fourth one, that there was still a lot more information that I could be putting out to people. And I realized also that instead of, making it a blog series, it should just be a book, just go ahead and accomplish that one goal, that I've always wanted to do. Like, why not?
Yes, I'm glad you do that. Well, I don't know. I've never been an author before, so I don't know how hard it is or what the steps are. But I'm glad you got everything under control, and it kind of I think
Yeah.
because you say you have the passion for it, you put your heart and your mind to it, and a lot of
Hmm.
people jump from one idea to another because they are lost or
Hmm.
do not know what niche to belong to. And what are some reasons or stopping blocks that you think um, for people that you think when it comes to what are some of the reasons or stopping blocks that kind of hinder people from actually discovering their niche?
And maybe this is just based off of what I saw working with teenagers, is that a lot of times, even though society and sometimes caregivers or parents mean well, I think that because they've had their issues, along the way, and they've already been through the growing pains of going from teenager to adult, they often impose their ideas on their kids. And I think that so many people grow up being fearful that if they don't do, certain things a certain way and take certain steps that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to find a job. I'm not going to have money. I think that nowadays people are really big on pushing their kids for college, and some kids may not be college material. It just may not be for them, and even when I was working at the teen center, I would be very vocal and say, college is not for everybody. It's wonderful if you want to go there and, get that degree and have that experience, but you shouldn't feel forced to do
That's
it.
true.
And I feel like a lot of people, they do it out of default, and they do it out of fear, because fear of the unknown, fear of failure. And that keeps them from pursuing their dreams, things that they really enjoy doing, honestly.
Yeah.
And I was guilty of that myself.
Me
I
too.
was.
I think that
So,
happens to almost everyone. And I think another thing
mhm.
I will add to it is I think comparison. Don't you think comparison do have to do with that too?
Yeah, a lot of people, and again, I think we've all been guilty of this, of comparing your life with somebody else's, and just you always feel like you have to be on the same level as somebody else and doing what they're doing. And, well, I can't be different. And honestly, I find that I'm most fulfilled when I'm being different, when I'm doing my own thing and what matters to me, that I've always been, my own self. And whenever I've had to not necessarily compromise, but give up a part of myself to do a particular job or work for a particular company, that's usually when, the unhappiness, kind of settles in and you start not really enjoying what you're doing as much. And yeah, it can
Yeah.
definitely impact your life in a negative way if you're not doing what you really should be doing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you said that because some people do have this comparison syndrome, where they compare
Mm-hmm.
their peers, to them. Oh, my peers are doing this. Maybe that's the road to success.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to do that so I can be successful as this person or
Mm-hmm.
that person. I don't think that would kind of make you block you. I won't say block. Maybe kind of shift your focus in
Mm-hmm.
that's something that should have been beneficial. Like your dream might be
Yeah.
to be whatever it is, but you're so focused on other people's dream, and you would miss out on
Mm-hmm.
that, and you delay your own dream. So instead of focusing on that person, focus on your own path in life, and by God's grace, God
Mm-hmm.
will direct you to the right path. So do you have any words of encouragement for those who have finally, let's say, discover what they think is their dream career or their niche, and they are ready to dive in? And what are some words of encouragement that you can give to them?
Do what you love and it'll never feel like work.
I know.
And I know that's like an old cliche, but it really is the truth. I mean, yeah, I have my days where I'm stressed out, because I was having issues with the manuscript or, the book cover needed to be revised. But at the end of the day, it was great because, I'm doing something that I love. So, if you follow your heart, the money definitely, it will come. You shouldn't necessarily just focus on the money. Now, obviously money is important to a certain degree. We can't function in this society without it, but that shouldn't be the end all be all, for why you pursue a certain profession, because after a while it can get pretty old.
Yes, it will. Are you gonna get tired
Hmm.
whenever you remember that job or that career that
Yeah.
isn't in your dreams? Like, oh my God, do I have to go to this job again? Don't we all have that moment?
I see so many memes about that. It's ridiculous. Like seriously. And I was there. Like I see so many memes about Sundays. People they really do get anxiety on Sundays because they don't want to go to work on Monday. And I used to get that really badly when I was in the field. Um, yeah, so I empathize with people on that. That stress and that anxiety is no joke.
Yes, it's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. Well, guys, we have come to
Mm-mm.
the end of this topic, but before we dive into the questions, I want first talk about the website. Yes, we do have a website. It's Vent Time with Connie podcast.com. You can see it on the screen. You can go into it, and I can take you through it. We do have homepage. You can look at our beautiful story that we have. You can read that to yourself, and you can also listen to the recent episode while you are going through the website. We do have the Living Single series out now, and we do have Venta with Connie collection. We have one for men, for women, for kids, yeah, for your children, and accessories. So make sure you go check it out. And if you're interested in being a guest, you can fill out the beautiful form that we have here, and it will come straight to my email, so I can get you into the show, so we can talk about any topics that you might be interested in, and you can donate to us if you're interested in that. It will be greatly appreciated. And if you want to get to the if you would like to listen to the episode in a different platform, listening platform, we have different kinds. We have Apple, we have Anchor, we have Google Podcasts, Spotify, even on YouTube. We are on YouTube and iHeartRadio, so you can go check it out and support us as much as you can. Also, give me a second. Let me remove that. We do also the T-shirt that I was talking about. I'm wearing it right now. I can show it to you guys. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is how it looks like right here. And we do have a hat.
Mm.
Yes, beautiful. You can get the hats too. Yes. So you can look cool, okay? And join us this live stream with me while we rocking the Ventown with Connie collection. So you can you can show as as a supporter, and you can wear it to the mall, wherever you like to go, so you can promote the podcast, so a lot of people can get to listen to it. So, guys, make sure you check that out. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Let me see. Okay. Well, we pretty much don't have any question today, just commentary from someone. I think it was from Alfredo. He said, "Cool, I'm part of the intro." Yes, Alfredo, you are part of the intro. Thank you so much for coming. And he said, I read Second Timothy 3 and also referenced Chronicles 7:14. Be prepared and be happy. Yes, you have to be, because this word sometimes it can do some things to you. When the word gives you lemon, make lemonade. Okay, you gotta make you gotta survive. You can't just keep going around, feeling sad and everything. It will not help the matter. And he was just basically telling me about the microphone. Thank you so much. Yeah, shout out to Alfredo. He always making sure I'm getting it right. Thank you so much for your support. Well, Tamika, where can people reach you? If they want to get in contact with you.
Okay. Well, of course, my website, which is mikamurray.com. I know I can see it on my little tag on the
Yes.
screen. But my email is also, excuse me, Mika Murray 81@gmail.com. That's the email that I use the most. I have it hooked to my phone. So if you send me an email, I will get it right away and try to respond as quickly as possible. And I'm on Instagram under Celestial Scribe 81, and also Celestial Publishing LLC has its own page on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook as well. All you have to do is type in my name, Tamika M. Murray, and you should be able to find me.
Okay, guys, if you go to her website, like I have on the screen, it has all her social contacts. You have Facebook, Instagram. You're on Twitter too, right?
Yes, I'm
Have
on all
all
of them.
Yes, and have all of them for you to get in contact with her. So if you are into writing and you need some advice when it comes to publishing your first book or anything, she's the woman for you. Okay, you need to go to her to help you out on it. And Thank you so much, Tamika, for stopping by on Rent Time with Connie podcast. It was a great pleasure talking to you. I'm sure the wisdom that you have shared on this episode will be a blessing to anyone that might be listening or watching, because some people might be listening. They will get to listen to this tomorrow. So I'm sure they'll be blessed by what you said here. And on behalf of my listeners and viewers, we say thank you for coming. And I hope you had fun on this.
Aw, I did. I enjoyed myself. I'd love to come back someday.
Yes, we'll definitely have you back something. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching this live stream. And I hope to see you back here again next week. Saturday is gonna be a weekly live stream at 2:30 p.m. to discuss yet another thought-provoking and intriguing topic in relates to entrepreneurship. Thank you, and do have a wonderful rest of your day. This is your host Connie signing out. Bye bye.